everyone, this is P4L. I'm gonna do a quick review of MP-46 Black Arachnia, or Black Widow as she's known in Japan, from the Beast Wars. So this is the newest Beast Wars masterpiece figure. Like I said, I'm gonna try to do this real quick. I wasn't gonna do it because I got this so late, but figured why not? Let's just do a quick one. Box art wise, looks really nice as usual. Same kind of stuff on the side, the renders. And then a lot of product images on the back. She comes with a lot of accessories. I don't know if it justifies the price tag, but she is a pretty cool figure. So let's get her out of the packaging. So she does come in a clamshell. She also comes with these accessories here. A little stage, instructions, and where's her card? Okay, I clearly lost it, so I'm just going to go ahead and move on. If I find it, I'll splice that in, but I literally just saw it. Anyway, the instructions are not that good, to be honest, just mostly because it's a small figure, and there's a lot of small details that they don't really talk about, and there are some confusing bits here, but I'll try my best. So, throw this off to the side. We'll start with the stage real quick, just to get it out the way. It is very similar to the stages that we got from the Dinobot. I actually don't know if it's exactly the same, but it should connect the same. Instead of using one of these rectangular tabs, we have like a port. I think TM said this is the same kind of stand that we got from the, what was it, Trax? I think, yeah, Trax, his display stand, just a different base. So it has some articulation on the bottom here, which is ratcheted. You can swing around on this post. It has hinges here and up here as well, which you can tighten with a screwdriver. And then a little post at the back. So you can use that in a couple different ways. This piece is just kind of her goggles. They give you an extra attachment just in case, I guess, you break this one. You just can unpeg it here. It does have some nice translucent detail. Let me scooch in a bit. Through the middle. Mine has a little bit of extra paint, but nothing big. I'm not going to use this at all, so I don't really care about it. So we'll show that off later. Out of the clamshell, though, she does come packaged in beast mode. So here she is. She has 2 additional faces. If I can get it out. She has a couple of weapons. So this is basically the same weapon. One just has a different molded piece here which attaches with this thread. I think this is just going to all dump out. Let's put that off to the side. This is a piece that you're going to need for this piece. Come on. And then the webbing at the top. Let's just throw that all off to the side. So really quick, this piece we'll just peg in here. Oh no, sorry, peg in here. Like so. We'll just put the weaponry off to the side. All these pieces seem to be basically the same, as far as I can tell. The way it works, though, is that you can see they have a series of pegs on one side and holes there, and they do an over-under, an overlapping style, and you just do that all the way across. Over and under. And then all 4 pieces will come together like so. Which is really nice. It's a nice translucent blue. How this works is you have this peg stand, and you go ahead and use these clips to clip into the webbing. We'll come through here and peg this over top like so, and then you'll have this clip here. Oops. Clearly didn't secure this. I don't think this is the most solid connection, but it's okay. There we go. You can do this at various angles. You can rotate this around. I forgot there is actually ability to rotate this around on this peg because it's not a super tight connection. But you can bend it out like that. The way this last clip works is it clips on to this piece. And you're like, why does it clip onto the weapon? Well, My dear friend, the reason is that to get this to work, actually clip in, it doesn't clip into her in spider mode. You actually have to use these tabs and these slots and these tabs. This part is a little frustrating just because it's kind of like a blind tab and they're small. But I think I may have gotten them. And then you basically just clip it in like that, and then you come in here, and then you can clip that piece on. More than likely it'll fall off, like it just did there. So it's more of a nice to have, but not really that useful. If you want, you can just post her like this. The real reason you need this is if you want to have it at an angle where she would just slide off. So is it a nice to have? Sure. Do I really want to pay the money for this? Probably not. I'm probably not going to use this in my display personally, just because it takes up a decent amount of space. So it is what it is. Alternatively, same thing here. You could tab it in. I forget which way they actually want you to have it tabbed in, but depending on which way you want the thread to come out, you can have this attached, and she can float around on this as well. Well, hang on this as well, not float. But again, the tabbing mechanism leaves a lot to be desired. So I'm not even going to bother showing this off. You can also have this piece here attached to the port in our butt, so that if you want this to look like she's hanging, you can hang it this way as well. So it works. If you have a very complex display setup, it might be very cool to have that. Otherwise, I don't know that this is really very useful. All right, let's put her down for now. Let's look at the. We'll look at the faces once we get into robot mode. So yeah, looking at her in this mode, in beast mode, out of the box, yours may or may not come transformed as cleanly as mine. Mine wasn't. And there's a lot of adjustments, and there's stuff that's not very clear. So one of the things that people have been doing is trying to curl her butt a little bit more, or like, I don't even know what it's called, the abdomen or the thorax, I don't know. But you can get this kind of curl over a little bit more and hide some of this detail. So there's kind of a gap on the side here. So some people have been doing that. The head kind of floats above here, or you can pull it a little bit more forward, but then you get more of a gap here that looks incomplete. So there's a lot of options. I kind of like it a little bit more forward just because it hides the elbows a little bit more and you get more articulation. If you fold this back and kind of hide this tab that's back here with it, that tab kind of locks on, but then your head's just like floating and the arms don't seem to actually connect to the body, the spider arms. Like, you can articulate these a bit and rotate them around, but they don't really look like they attach, and then you have a big gap here. So my preference is to have it like this. It does leave more of a gap here, but really it's up to you. As far as the articulation in this mode, the arms are on ball joints, or not, yeah, the legs are on ball joints all the way at the base, but they're really loose, so you can't really make use of them all that much. She seems to want to just lie on her body. You can use it different ways, like if you rotate at the actual robot arm so that these ball joints can't rock up anymore, you can get a little bit more, I guess, sturdiness, but then the arms. So now she's actually standing on her legs, but now her legs are detached from her body. So it's not a great design. You can probably tighten it up, but I'm not going to go through the trouble of tightening up this figure in a mode that I'm probably not going to display her in. I think that's it. She does have another point of articulation around here. You can rotate these around. Oh, I forgot. Her mandibles, or whatever they're called, they do open up and close, which is a small detail. And then if you lift up this head, this base here, articulation, which we were talking about before, which again, I don't really know how that's supposed to work. You can rotate the head left and right. It's on a, it looks like it might be on a ball joint. No, it's on a hinge and another hinge. So you actually get a couple pieces of articulation, and this black piece here, again, can hinge around to cover or not cover whatever you want. But this mode definitely is sacrificed for the robot mode, which is kind of a shame because I do like the beast modes a lot, and that's kind of what makes the Beast Wars iconic. So to have this pretty compromised with all the legs shown here, the foot shown here, the hands just hiding around on the bottom. With the eyes, the only thing I'll say is that for some reason they recommend you do it this way, and I'm not really sure why they think this is better. I would rather have it actually tab in and the eyes just sit more flush, but it's up to you. Other than that, there's not really a lot of articulation to talk about. We'll talk about the size real quick. I'm a little too lazy because I wanted to do a quick review to transform any of my Beast Wars figures into alt mode for this. But you can see just how small she is compared to MP-21 mold. It's very tiny. But as we talked about before, one of the shining things about this series is the paint and like the overall, I guess, detail that is on the different modes. So this one has kind of a rough, like speckled type of finish. It's not speckled, like more like orange peel. It's like an orange peel finish, which is really cool. But it's only on like some parts here. It's not on the legs, which end up being these parts that are legs that end up being super smooth. But even this piece that's on her knees are like that kind of digital print, kind of pixelated. It almost looks like amber or like almost like tree grain, like wood grain. But that looks cool. And then the actual metallic bronze on the legs looks quite nice. Even the small details on the eyes are really amazing. So as far as overall look, it's very cool. And you can see the Black Widow kind of hourglass shape on the top of the abdomen or whatever it's called. That's usually on Black Widows on the bottom. So that's just for show accuracy, which is not very accurate to real life. So let's go ahead and deal with transformation. First thing we're going to do, as you saw before, this thing kind of came undone. There's a little peg here on the bottom of what will be her gun. And then this slots in upwards into here. You can see kind of a set of opposing tabs. So when you have this, you're going to flip this down like so and curl these pieces down. That's it. You can make use of this weapon piece, and slot this in. And it can go around. You could actually do it with this piece too, with the string hanging out. What I would have liked though is if this had like a larger piece here, like a little small peg and a larger piece of the same diameter, so that you can have this linked in here. So I can't find a way where you could do that. That would have been nice. So you can peg that in and look like her swinging grapple hook. So I think that's a missed opportunity. But yeah, that's it. We'll put this off to the side for now. Going with transformation, we'll go ahead and lift this piece up on the kneecaps. Lift this piece. This is a key step that I think most people miss when they transform back. These pieces do slot into these knee slots. So make sure when you're transforming back, that actually is what helps hold the entire beast mode together. So just flip this up. Bring the legs down. Straighten out the legs and the ankles, and then you have a little tab slot here that helps you get the heel out, and then the legs, the thigh covers are on double hinges, so you want to come back, and that's it. Same thing on the other side, and then her hips are on a set of hinges double hinges that can collapse in to give her a little bit more of a svelte, feminine silhouette. All right. The arms you can just straighten out, like so. We're gonna have to open up the abdomen. I'm gonna bring this all the way down and rotate at the waist, and you can see her feminine abs here. Next up, we're going to lift up on this hinge here And we're going to need to rotate the chest through this section here. Be careful rotating this through. There are a series of hinges here, which make the job sometimes harder, sometimes easier than it needs to be. Come on. And you definitely don't want to scratch up the nice gold paint there. But as you can see, that's what happens. You can bring the shoulders around while we're doing this. And then her body actually collapses down. So this part here will collapse down. It was kind of like this before on this double hinge. Collapse it down. You'll need to do that so that the spider head comes low enough so that when you close up the eyes, it tabs that into place. This piece, which was out before, you want to rock that in. And then the chest here will now have that slot available. And this is also on a series of hinges. So you want to rock this back and then down to lock all this in. Like that. Make sure these shoulder pieces here are rotated around like that. And the arms you don't actually, the spider legs you don't actually do anything with. They're supposed to just kind of hang out. You can fold them back like this. For the, I guess, machine gun mode she has, you're just supposed to rock these back. If you want, you can rock them the other way. It really doesn't matter, to be honest. I just like curling them up a bit to get it a little bit cleaner. And then on the back here, again, a bunch of double hinges. You want to collapse this down like that. And then there's a kind of a U-shaped tab that will go into the back of her neck. Okay, so sorry, I was messing up, that's why. I was trying to get into this lower slot. It's actually not this slot. It's actually this tab piece that's almost underneath the back of her neck. It has to go up and into there, not into this slot here. So you should hear a definitive click like it did there. And then this piece kind of just sits on the back. I like having it angled a little bit out like that so you get a little bit more articulation on the waist. If you want, you can kind of fold it back like this as well, or fold it down to cover her butt. It's really up to you, but that's it for transformation. And she looks really nice in robot mode. Very clearly the mode that they were working off of to get this looking as show accurate as possible. I do find it very annoying. As you can tell, I'm always having to kind of mess with her arms. And again, since they're so loose, they just, every touch gets them kind of moving around. Her arms also come in like several sections, like this section here, this part that rotates in the middle, the bicep swivel down here as well, or elbow swivel. So there's a lot going on. Even this wrist swivel. So trying to rotate or articulate the arms can be a bit of a hassle, to be perfectly honest. But since we're talking about articulation already, you can see her neck is on a hinge, but also a ball joint at the base of the head. She can go around. Her shoulders, in addition to this piece that swivels around as you'd like, the shoulder actually rotates around, can swivel out about this far. Good gosh, you just get all in the way. We already talked about all the arms. She does have a double jointed elbow joint, which can make it fold up flat. It's also useful for transformation. We already talked about the wrist and so forth. She does have a couple points of articulation at her hands. Well, I don't even know what you would call this, but she has one at the base here and then one at the tip. This one over here and one at the tip. So you can go around quite a bit. The gun has a peg here, so it's a little bit different than what we're used to with the MP figures. It's like a tab. You just peg that in there and you can wrap the claws around that. And like I said, attach this piece in to complete the look. So she does have a waist swivel, a little bit of articulation here as well. As you can see, kind of an ab crunch. It's pretty limited. I thought she might have an upper body as well, but I think this locks it into place. Legs come up to the front and to the back, 90 degrees, out to the side, all friction. Thigh swivel, and again, if you need some additional articulation, you can make use of these double jointed hinges to give you a little more range if you need that. She does have a knee bend, which can fold all the way down. So it's just single joint, but because it's a rounded knee, you can go all the way around like so. Also notice she has a hinge here, but I don't really know what the hinge is for. Like, you can see this pin here, but I don't know what it's for at all. Like, this makes sense. This is for the knee piece. This is for the knee, but what is this lower hinge for? Oh, it's spring-loaded. So I guess you can get a little bit more articulation. I don't know why it's spring-loaded. Maybe I missed that in instructions. Anyway, she does have ankle tilts going in and out, and then can go forward and back. And then we talked about the heel. But yeah, this spring-loaded mechanism, pretty interesting. All right, so I do have some comparisons in robot mode, so let's go ahead and bring them out next to Cheetor. Cheetor's a little bit taller. Oops. And Primal. So as I said, she is very tall, small, both in alt mode, beast mode, and in robot mode. So it's hard to justify the pricing for me, just because of the accessories, the vast amount of accessories she has. They're not accessories that I find really that useful. So I don't know. Pricing wise, that's going to be up to you guys to decide whether you want this in your collection or not. I think it's worthwhile. Just I wish the pricing were a bit better. I've said it many times, and I'm going to continue saying it because they keep doing it. They keep throwing in accessories and increasing the price, but I don't think the accessories justify the price increase. So I love the playability options, but give us stuff that we'll actually use. Like, I don't know that I'll use this web stuff, and I don't know if it's really that necessary to be iconic for her figure, right? The figure stand's nice. It's always nice to have figure stands, but figure stands are pretty much, you know, 10 to 20 bucks. So having one like this, specifically for the Beast Wars bases and everything like that, Anyway, so before we get into transformation, let's go ahead and do the accessory. You can lift up her butt flap here, and then she has a little port on her butt that you can plug this into. The instructions seem to indicate you can flip this up on itself a bit more. Mine doesn't seem to want to do that, and I'm hesitant to fold it up more than this, but you can plug it in like so. But in any case, let's talk about the accessories real quick before we go into alt mode. So she has the glowing green eyes. And then this one, it's very difficult to tell the difference. I had to look at it twice. Her eyes are a bit basically less squinty. And that's really it. And to do this, you just untab it like that, a quick pull. Put the other near identical face in, like that. And for this accessory, come on, just throw this on, like so. There we go. Again, another accessory that I will never use. It'll just stay in the box forever. All right, so let's go ahead and get this girl transformed back into alt mode. I think this is where most people are having the most problems because the instructions are, again, very, very small. Oh, I didn't talk about this hinge either. So the shoulder joint, she has a secondary hinge. I keep forgetting. Sorry about that. Like I said, I'm definitely rushing through this, so I'm not as prepared. So I apologize. It's not up to the quality that I'm used to providing. So, oh, I found her card. Yeah. So here's her stat card. And then get into transformation. Hopefully this will help folks out who have been struggling with this. There are some, like I said, small details that the instructions really fail to capture. So coming back, untab this section here, extend it out on that double hinge. Come to the chest, untab that. You're going to need her to basically have her nose in between her double D's. Extend this. Remember how we had it before? And fold it back, just so you have the room to clear all this. Like so. Alright. We'll deal with the rest of this later. Bring out this section, untab the crotch area, bring this up and around, and this will come up like so and kind of sit back like this. Alright. Since I'm not going to use the articulation, I'm not going to do the recommended one where you fold it like this, just go ahead and close up the crotch again. And you can see here she does have a little bit of a bobble. It's a little bit yet less obvious when we're in the transformation, but she does have it. Alright, so bring these all the way up like so, making sure to rotate the shoulder pieces. And then you're going to want to rotate at the elbow joint so you can get these in like this. Underneath the chest. So again, making sure you use this rotational joint down here, getting the elbows in like so, and the wrists around like that. Make use of that double jointed elbow. Bring these two halves together, and you can see they have interlocking claws or tabs that will make the claws, like so. Alright, now coming to the legs, rotate this up, get the heels in, open up the thighs, which are double hinged. Rotate this in like this. This is going to come up and around like so. Same thing on this side. And bring this up and in. Expand the hips. And then you kind of want it kind of in this position for now. And again, these pieces here are going to slot into the knee slots, and you want to get them as low as possible. Like that. And then you can fold these up. Oh, dang it. Folded it too hard. There we go. Get these in as low as possible. Get these in like so. Oh, and of course this came undone. So this is a very finicky figure for sure. Lots of random tabbing. And like I said, the joints tend to be a little bit looser than I would like, which makes it a more frustrating ordeal when you're actually trying to get this guy transformed. Now you want to see this curvature actually make it into a curve. So you can see right now I've stuck my finger in between our legs. That sounded wrong, but and to push up on the piece with the Black Widow symbol. I also like rotating the ankles just a little bit to hide a little bit of the gap that you see there. Alright. And then rotate these arm pieces up near the body. And of course this piece came off again. So definitely understand people's frustrations. I think everyone is kind of on the same boat. It's a good looking figure overall, especially in robot mode, but it suffers a lot in terms of just feeling like a solid figure in beast mode. Alright, so here's one tip. You want to be able to push in like this so that these double hinges kind of push in on itself, and it almost makes kind of like a scorpion tail, how it curves around, and you can see it hides a bit of the gold a little bit more. Then if we get the gun, we can finish off this figure by flipping this up, flipping this panel down like so. And then I find it easier to go ahead and tab up here first, and then tab into the bottom of her crotch with a peg like that. And hopefully you can arrange this in a way that will look a little bit cleaner than what I have right now with all his legs, all her legs kind of going everywhere. So that's where we're going to end. Final thoughts. As I said before, it's a very cool looking figure, and I think they've done a lot given it's a fembot, very small frame. You usually don't have a lot to work with. And it does a decent job here. I think the work that they put into robot mode does kind of make it worthwhile at the end. But the thing is, with a lot of the Masterpiece figures as of late, is it's hard to justify the pricing for such a small figure that I think could be better overall. The accessories don't really mean a lot to most people, I don't think, and as with most people, I think I'm going to keep mine in the packaging or at best somewhere on the shelf, but it doesn't feel like it's a necessary addition to this this figure. And this butt piece is killing me right now. I do like the grappling hook, and I think that's a really good piece. The only addition, as I said before, it would have been nice if we could use the grappling hook piece with the actual gun itself. So if this outer tab was peg was a bit bigger in diameter. And some of the tolerances, if they're a little bit tighter, it would be nice. But that's really it. I don't feel like fiddling with her anymore. She's going to go on my shelf and kind of just stay in place. Kind of like I said with MP Bumblebee. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Sorry it took actually a lot longer than I was expecting with the mishaps I had. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. If you found it useful, especially some of the tips in transformation, let me know by giving me a like or leaving a comment in the description below. Alright? I will have an MP Hound review very, very shortly. I should be getting him tomorrow. And if I do, I'll either do a live stream or a full review tomorrow night, depending on how I feel after I get done with my Christmas Eve plans. Alright? That's all for today, everyone. Hope you have a good one.